Howdy folks, Hulkrex here, and welcome to Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 75. And today we're going to be talking about another vehicle, the Scorpion Light Tank, the 25-ton tank that can. As you can see here in some of the pictures, it doesn't look kind of like a Scorpion. That's because, well, back in the day when I was playing lots of Micro Armor, and being that Micro Armor, GHQ stuff, and Command Decision, was all 285th scale and basically 6mm, which is Battletech. So I decided, you know what? I have all these little Micro Armor things, and so I'm going to make a whole bunch of my little tanks. Here is a Leopard 2 tank from Germany, and I made it into my Scorpion tanks. So I had a whole bunch of Scorpion tanks for the same price I paid for two. So why not just use these guys instead? But let's just delve into the Scorpion. I like this tank because it is cheap. It's around 300 battle value for what it can do. And it's a good harasser little tank. Now, 25 tons. It is a 460 internal combustion engine. And so it makes it fairly cheap when it comes to point value. It carries around 64 points of armor, so pretty much hardly any. You know, comparable to your typical battle mech of the light class. Comparable, you know, here or there. And the only downside of this little guy is that the armor. Alright, one way or the other. You hit this thing with an AC-20 and, well, that's sayonara. There's no more little tank. But you know, for 300 points, you can field a lot of these little guys. Now for equipment, it has an AC-5 in the turret, 1 ton of ammo, 1 machine gun in the front slope, and a half ton of ammo and the internal. Now, how do I like using this thing? Well, it's not a speedster tank. You know, it's your typically moves around the same speed as some of the light mechs, medium mechs, and most heavies, and some of the assaults. So I like using it as a follow along or my cheap version of some snipers, because you can sit back with that AC-5 and pretty much shoot for 20 turns and not worry about anything unless somebody comes up and close to you. And if you get any type of infantry coming near you, you got the machine guns in the auto cannon to do a little bit of damage to them and keep them at bay, or just kind of move out of the way, because you can outrun infantry unless they're in a APC, which we'll be talking about some APC possibilities here in a little bit when we get into some further vehicles out of the 39 book. Now, like I said, this little tank is a 4.6 moving tank, so I like to move it along with some medium and heavy tank vehicles, or you know, they make great support for like demolishers, because hey, demolishers only shoot out to 9, and this little AC-5 can shoot a lot farther, so they make great escorts for them. And also you can, if you're doing combined arms, which, you know, if you're playing Battletech, Battletech isn't all about just rock'em stomping robots with guys piloting them. It's combined arms. Most houses are going to be fielding mostly conventional armor because it is cheaper to produce them and maintain them. So a vast majority of the planetary defense forces are going to be conventional armor, which be like Scorpions, and they could put a whole bunch of these things out for the price of 1 battle mech, and you can do a lot of damage to a battle mech with some Scorpions. So basically, for the cost of, let's say, some of your medium mechs, you can field a whole bunch of these things and have the mech pilot having problems with them, because yeah, you can only basically kill 1 vehicle at a time. And then with that AC-5, it's got a threat bubble that's pretty big. It can reach out there a good distance and hit something. And if you park these things in some good terrain, they're going to be looking at not worrying about moving, and they make a great fire support base. And or if something needs to be threatened, they can move to a flank. It's kind of slow, but they can do it. They can start maneuvering into flanks also, just like a typical medium or heavy mech, without the firepower, not without the cost, though. All right. Now, if you lose a few of these guys in a battle, well, I'd rather use and lose some conventional armor like the Scorpion light tank versus losing, let's say, a medium mech. Which one's going to cost you more in the long run to replace or fix? You know, which one would you rather lose? Let's say if you're playing campaigns. If I'm playing a campaign, I have no problem possibly sacrificing a few tanks for the cost of a piece of battle mech. Now, like I said, use these guys as flankers and laying down fire support bases. You know, you park yourself someplace on a hill and just go to town sniping away. You know, they can get into medium range, or I prefer not trying to get into short range within range of getting kicked or stomped, because that's usually a bad deal when it comes to vehicles, because your typical medium and heavy mech's going to basically stove in the side of one of these things and put it out of action right there and then. So I like to keep a little bit of distance with them. And it's really good, like I said, I'm a person that uses a lot of von Luckners and Demolisher tanks and moving those guys up. So with these guys, you can lay down some fire base, fire support, putting down some damage while the other ones move up. And hopefully, with using some cover in moving through the terrain, those demolishers and stuff that have to get in point blank range practically to do anything are going to be ignored until they can pop out someplace and, you know, give some AC-20 love tap and make it a nice little love fest. So that's how I like using these guys. And if something decides to try to flank around, you can always throw these guys into a blocking force and then just go rat-a-tat-tat with them with those AC-5s and tear off some armor off somebody. Let me tell you, if there's a medium or light mech that takes about, let's say you're running a platoon of these or a lance of these, 4 of them, or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, and which I can do, and they all get hit with an AC-5, let's say half of those or 3/4 of them hit, a light mech is going to be going, well, I don't think so. I'm going to be turning around, because either they're going to have most of their armor ripped off, or they're going to be going, this is not a really good deal, and I'm missing body parts. So that's basically what I like doing with them. And if they decide to get within close and start tearing up your Scorpions, you're really not out of much, you know. Because these things is like last week we had the Savannah Masters. These things are cheaper than the Savannah Master. The only good thing about a Savannah Master is that it can just fly across the board and get in behind somebody. So in combination, let you think about this one. A lance of Scorpions laying down fire support, some Demolishers and Von Luckners, even Pattons or Rommel tanks coming up, creating your fire base, and then your Savannah Masters, a lance of those coming whipping around and getting on the backside of somebody. Now you're starting to see how these things kind of work. It's like, who do you attack? You're going to be hit from all different sides. And that's what I always say. A conventional force of armor will take down most battle mech lances because there's so much of them. They're cheaper. So if you lose a few, big deal. Now, there's a couple variants. The popular variant replaces the autocannon with 2 SRM launchers and some ammunition. That could be good, but it kind of goes against, in a way, my whole concept of a fire platform of harassing guys and other ones at medium, even long range. So I have a tendency to shy away from that one. Now there's another one which replaces the autocannon with an LRM-10 and an LRM-5 with a ton of ammo each. That could be useful if it's kind of like you're going out there with an LRM-15 but not quite as good as an LRM-15. So I'll talk about that one in here a little bit. But it is useful. That one's not bad. And the third one, which I wouldn't do, is replaces the autocannon with 2 medium lasers and heat sinks. No, not doing that one at all. That putting heat sinks and medium lasers on a internal combustion engine IC vehicle, you don't have a fusion pack, so you don't have that 10 free heat sinks that come on the fusion pack. So that's just, you're just kind of, to me, wasting tonnage to throw into heat sinks when you could have something better to throw down range. And then you're doing the same thing as if you had, I'd rather have the 2 SRM6s than the 2 medium lasers, because, you know, and that way you're looking at something that, yeah, you got to get close, but you're going to be doing more damage with the 2 SRMs than you would with the medium lasers. All right. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that one. Now, one thing I have done in the past with the LRM version is convert the LRM-5 into an SRM-4. So you have an LRM-10, an SRM-4. So if something does get in close, you have an SRM and a machine gun that can do some damage to something up close and personal. And you have that LRM-10. So you actually can be doing more damage than the AC-5. And with that LRM-10, then you can, if you have a lance of those guys, then you can put down some good damage with a light vehicle. And they're going to be real, suddenly you're going to be like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm keep getting hit by these LRM-10s, by these really cheap vehicles. Suddenly a medium or a heavy or even assault mech, a lance of these guys, they'll be going, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to start killing these things. So if they start focusing on killing the vehicles, who are they not shooting at? Your mechs. So, or they could go all on the mechs, trying to kill the mechs, and the vehicles are the ones tearing them up too. So who do you try to take care of? All right. Given so many different targets to shoot at, they don't know what to do with them all. All right. That's how I like using these things. So I give you a good variant, which is kind of like in the book, but slightly better, where you have in-close SRM. So if something comes in close to you, you have those SRMs to deal with them, and you can still shoot downrange with that LRM. And kind of displace it. You know, you're only 4.6, but hey, yeah. So that's a lot of what I look at when it comes to the Scorpion light tank. Think about possibly picking some of these up. They are a decent vehicle if you want to use them in the game. They work fine. Try them out. If you have tried them out and used them before, let me know down below, because I enjoy these things. Whenever I get a game in and I got enough points and I'm going to go conventional arms, I like throwing a few of these in just to make things interesting. Alright, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. This is Hellcrex, and we'll talk with you later.